It's a big day today.
Yeah.
We've got the budget. That's going to be
Yes.
released.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's going to be at 2 p.m. today where that's going to be
Right.
released.
Okay.
And we're very much looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing what's in it. Kiwis were promised relief on
Yeah.
the cost of living.
Yeah.
And with the government, Christopher Luxon and Nicola Willis, they said that they'll fix this. So we're hoping there's going to be a lot for families in there because
Right.
right now it's only getting harder.
Yeah.
And with this budget coming up, it's the government's last time
Yeah.
to show that they've got a plan that actually works for our people. Because right now people are doing everything right. They're
Right.
getting up early, they're working the long hours, they're trying to get ahead, and they still feel like that they're going backwards. That's what we're going to be looking at because it seems to us right now it's cut, cut, cut
Yeah.
after cut. But as we know, cuts don't grow the economy.
Yeah.
They shrink it. It's like hitting the brakes, just when we should be putting our foot down and stimulating our economy.
Yeah.
So when people ask me, well, what would you do?
Yeah.
We'd move money to where it's actually going to work the hardest,
Yeah.
into productive businesses, into growth, not into things like property speculation or quick wins for the already well off, because we believe in building a country that's actually worth staying in, a place where your hard work kind of gets ahead and doesn't put you further behind. So that's what we're looking at. Public services are already under the firing line under this government.
Yeah.
And New Zealand simply can't afford another 3 years of this. So with this budget coming out at 2 p.m. Tavoy, myself and the rest of my Labour caucus will be running a ruler over it to see where it falls short for our people and really holding the government to account.
Yeah. Okay. Dan, you did mention the government plans to cut 9,000 public service jobs to save $2.4 billion. What impact do you believe this will have on frontline services?
Yeah, so Tarboy, these are the support workers at your kid's school. They're the people checking goods at the border, the caseworker helping a family through a tough time. These are the people who hold our communities together.
Yeah.
And they're going to be cut to pay for tax breaks for the top end of town. And I think that's fundamentally wrong. Sorry, you go, Tarboy, sorry.
Yeah, no, because you are the spokesperson for Labour Party for the small business. Now, you recently questioned the Minister for Small Business about rising liquidations. What are you hearing from small operators in your electorate?
Yeah, so even not just in my electorate, like across the country when I'm getting out and about, fuel costs are probably the one thing. It hits businesses, it hits families, and that eats into their bottom line. And when businesses are looking into their profit and loss sheets, that are seeing that thin margin that they already had shrink. So that there is, and behind every small business is a family, a mum and dad business owner, and they're really feeling the squeeze right now. So they need relief right now.
So Dan, what would a Labour-led budget prioritise right now, especially for families struggling with the cost of living?
Yeah, so it's stimulating from the grassroots. We all know that trickle-down economics doesn't work. Didn't work in the 80s. It's not going to work now. We need to invest in our communities at the grassroots level. We need to have opportunities for our young people. We need to have opportunities for people to transition into different work areas and set the conditions for employers to want to hire new staff. And I think that's where our priorities lie. It's putting people first rather than the top end of town.
Okay. Then let's look at some local issues and infrastructure. You warned the government could face a fight over the Pegasus golf course redevelopment. What are your main concerns about the fast track process?
Yeah, so normally when a developer purchases a block of land, that doesn't matter where it is, it has to go through a resource consent process. And part of that is a submission window where members of the community get to have a say. Under the fast track legislation, it gives the opportunity, and not in all cases, but in some cases, for developers to circumvent the ability for the public to have their say. And that's the concern that I have. We've had a few developments. We've got like a development in my electorate in Waimakariri, the Ohoka development.
Yes.
Right now, that's under fast track consideration, and the community doesn't feel that they have their say. And it's the same with the Pegasus golf course. There's overlapping issues, and I just want to shine light on that because it's not transparent always, and people feel that they're not getting the right to raise their concerns.
Okay, then I can see here that you clashed with Matt Ducey over Waimakariri roading and infrastructure. What's the biggest what's the biggest transport priority for your region?
So we've got where we are. So our electorate's right. We have State Highway 1 going right through it.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people that move through our electorate are going into Christchurch City. So we've got a plan in place, or not we, but like New Zealand, we've got a Woodend bypass that will bypass the township of Woodend, and it will just kind of help ease those 20,000 traffic movements a day through Woodend. Now, both sides of government and the opposition, us, we're keen to establish the Woodend bypass. But what was never in the conversation before the last election was a toll. And I feel that would place undue pressure and effectively an additional roading tax on locals that use that road to take their kids to school, take them to rugby practice, go to church and things like that. That wasn't discussed before the election, and all of a sudden it's coming up now. And I don't feel that's right. I feel that you need to be upfront with locals about what your intentions are, who's going to be paying for it, and then also what overseas investors are going to be plugging into it too.
Okay, Dan, I know you've got an urgent meeting coming up very shortly. I've got a couple of more questions. You've argued Parliament has more pressing priorities than the biological sex definition bill. What issues should be front of queue instead?
100% would be the cost of living. House time is very valuable here. So every time a bill is introduced, it's not just the House, but it's also the Select Committee. So you've got to consider petitions, you get officials in, and so that time is very limited during a parliamentary term. And I feel that it people's things that affect people in their everyday life need to be prioritised. And so when you get distractions coming through the House, that delays that ability for us to actually do what we're elected to do, and ease the cost of living and make things better for our communities. And I feel that sometimes there are distractions that get thrown in there for other parties to score political points.
Okay, Dan, before I let you go, election is 6 months away from today. What does Labour stand for in 2026? And how do you convince voters you're still the party focused on working families?
Yeah, so bottom line up front, Tawai, I would say that Labour is focused on helping hardworking Kiwis get ahead, on the things that matter most. Your job, your health, your home, so you can build a future, and your kids can build a future right here. We've already announced things like making healthcare more affordable, starting with 3 free doctor's visits for every New Zealander, having like a card, so you can present that card. The Medicare card, that's what they call it. So you can get that out and not your credit card. We'll make it easier to get an appointment, starting by making it easier for doctors to actually set up in our communities, so they can expand practices because they know the communities the best, and invest in the industries that we said earlier, like jobs in the regions that create opportunity here at home, so people don't feel that they have to go to Australia to get ahead.
Okay. Dan Rosewarne, Whawhetai Telelava, thank you so much for your time. Manuia Leaso.
Malo.
Whawhetai lava. Ja, whaasevua Dan. Ja, ole sunga ja Dan Rosewarne. Ole so upulea Labour Party more rural business, rural communities and small business. Ja, maar het is dan nog een even Taeao folded to about Samoa.